Welcome back to the Qt Developer, or Qt Developer, whichever you prefer. Today we're going to discuss QMap. These are pretty neat. This is something where you can get a value and a key. Provide the key, get a value. So let's take a look at how these operate, some of the functionality in order to actually get it working. The documentation is pretty helpful. It'll define the map, how to traverse the map, etc. So today, let's get into it. So I need my includes of a QMap and a QDebug. So to define the map, first thing I need to do is I need to specify it's a QMap and it is parameter based. So I will use a string and an int, and I'll name it map. Again, another nice creative name. Now to populate the map, there are a number of ways I can do this. I can use one. Next we will use 2. And you guessed it, 3. There. And let's make it all match up so it looks pretty. Okay, there we go. Now if I want to look something up, I'm going to assign the number. So let's say number 1, and number 1 is going to equal map with the key. Then, that's one way to look it up. The next way is if I say number 2, and I provided what? The map dot value, and I provide the key. That is another way. Now notice how I have all these warnings coming up in Qt Creator. And it's telling me that I'm not using these variables. But this can be really distracting. All these things pop up and it gets really distracting. One thing that I like to do is if I have some variables that I may need in the future, not using right now, I can use the QUnused macro underscore, and then pass it the name. And notice, it just goes away. And I can go ahead and make that 2. So number 1, number 2. Whoops. There. Now they go away. This little macro, I find it pretty helpful. So let's say that you have a variable that's declared inside an if statement, and that if statement may not get called. You'll get that warning. But if you wrap it in the QUnused, then the warnings will go away. That's one way to solve the warning. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take a test of a new variable. I want to actually see if I could find something in the map. So let's call this timeout, and I'll set the timeout equal to 30. I'm going to use this macro again. There. Give myself a little extra room. And I'm going to check the map. So now the map, I want to check using the contains. Pass it what? The keyword timeout. So the map contains timeout. Let's set the timeout equal to the map value of timeout. Beautiful. And I'll go ahead and issue a QDebug for timeout. Terrific. There. Now this little feature, D contains. It will look through the map, see if it contains this. Now, if we look at our map, it's not there. So it'll actually never work. But what happens when I want to iterate over the map? Well, here's another common theme, iterator. And I can use a QMap iterator, pass it the template arguments of an int and a QString. And I think I'd like to name this, what should I call this? What do you think I should call this? I. There we are. We'll use the infamous I that everybody loves. Now, while I dot has next, you see the pattern that shows up with all of these containers? I dot next. Okay. I'd like to actually Q debug. What? This is a little bit tricky. Q printable, and I want to pass it the key. I also want to pass it the colon, little spacer, and I want to get the value. There. Now this Q printable, it makes it printable for QDebug. So let's run this. There. Here we go. So look at that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I like it. Now, what are some other things we can do here? Well, let's go through the different styles. What if I want to actually look at this in reverse? So I just printed it from the beginning to the end, but what if I want to reverse this and print it backwards? Watch how easy this is. So let's go ahead and add my new line, the endle. Does everybody remember the endle? And now let's go through in the STL style. Oh no, that's not true. Actually, you know what I want to do? Remember, I was going to add it backwards. I got distracted by adding the new line. So, see, that's what I should do. You see, QDebug, this way, I won't get confused. And I want to output reverse print. There. That will remind me. So now what I can do is I can set I to the back. Right? Now I want to run through the loop that says while dot has previous. I want to set to the previous. And now I'm going to output the item. And I don't need to do the printable. Check this out. These are just different variations I'm showing you of what you can use. Now, there, value. So what do you think? You think it's going to work? Did it work? Yes, it did. 132, 231. Beautiful. And that's how I could print reverse. So now, let's take a look at some other iterators. Knowing about these iterators is pretty helpful. Let's look at the C style, or the C++ STL style iterator. Another 4. So in here, I can use the auto keyword, and I will set auto to M, and M will equal to map.cBegin, because I need to set it to the beginning. Then I'm going to say, all right, end is equal to map.cEnd. Then I will set M is not equal to what? End. And I will increment M. And I made a mistake here. My goodness. Tricky. Okay, so now I will do qdebug. And I use qprintable again. Whoops. qprintable. And let's do i.key. And go ahead and add my colon. And I will do i.value. And it's actually not I, it's M. What am I doing? See, getting confused between M and I. You could be pointing and laughing at me right now, which would be kind of funny. Saying, hey, Mr. QT programmer, Mr. QT developer, what are you doing? And there it is, the STL print. And I should change this too. There. And make that STL. I'd also like to take this, move it down. Nice. There. Beautiful. Okay. So, that's the STL print. That's a reverse print. Now there's still one more that I'd like to do. What if I want to erase items from the map? How do I do that? So, erase items. Well, I can use the erase if method. Erase if. And I want to pass it the map and a lambda. Inside of here, I'm going to use a QMap, pass it the template arguments it needs, the iterator, and I'll make it ITR. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to return the ITR value if it's greater than 1. There. Now, I did that. Oh, you know what? That's correct. I think I forgot something here. There. Laughing at me again. What did I miss? I missed something. Did I miss a semicolon? I certainly did. Is there anything else I missed? Do you see my method call? There we go. Okay, see, live programming, that's what happens. Trying to remember all these things, my goodness. All right, so there it is. Now, whoops. There. Okay, so now I'm going to output a new line. So, save a little time. Let's go ahead, take this, move it right here. Give myself a little extra space. So the next thing I want to do is qdebug, and I want to output the map item count. Okay, and then map dot size. Nice. Then let's actually run through the map using a range-based looping system. So int value in. Now check this out. Before we used q as const, to get rid of the warning. If I were to do this, do you remember in that other video, the prior video on sets? So if I were to do qdebug value, I still have this warning right here. So if I were to do this, q as const, and then wrap this inside, you see, that goes away. But wait, there's more. I could use another one. As const. That. You see? So there are two that I can use. Two I can use are q as const and as std underscore as const. These two are magic. Those two are magic. So now, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think it'll erase which item? We come up here and look at them. Which item will it erase? Let's take a look. And the map count is 1. So if you guessed it, you were right. You removed everything except the item that was 1, because in here we said anything with a value greater than 1, it would erase. So, wonderful. That's maps. I hope you're able to learn a few new things today. Thank you for watching. Please leave some comments in any future videos. Thank you, and have a nice day.